Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
All right, guys, another episode of Shellonomics. This is some new ground here for us. We are joined by our good friend TMNT Dare Talk once again. Probably my favorite podcaster to listen to when it comes to Ninja Turtle comics. He has tons and tons of episodes of the OGs, the new Gs, and even just random miscellaneous ones like the Naruto Turtle crossover. So we're blessed to have him get started here. We're going to deep dive into the Ultimate Collection, which is where Turtles started. So Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman came up with this crazy idea, a 40-page comic, and they thought it was just going to be one and done, but little did they know it would turn into a monster of success. So Christian, are you ready for this, my guy? Are you ready?
Oh, let's get into the OG comics. Oh, this is good stuff.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So you're more into comics than I am. So for me, the first time I saw this comic actually was way past everything. I didn't see this as a kid, a teenager. I didn't see this until adulthood. And I believe the first time I got this was actually only I want to say maybe 8 years ago. It was way after the 2003 series. So I found it one day at a library, read it, was fun. And now I actually have my own, thanks to the book that Andrew Farago came out with, The Ultimate Ninja Turtle History. You actually get a copy of the comic. And then actually I have two copies now because our good friend gave me a copy of his from the Final First, the gentleman who put those all together. So we actually have two first comics now. Back in the 80s, before we get started in this, were comics still black and white? Because I was kind of not put off by it. I was like, wow, this is old. I think of black and white television. So were comics black and white like that in the early 80s?
Not most of them. Okay. As far as I know, the big comics, like it is today with DC, Marvel, and all that stuff, they were in color as far as I know. But the underground comics, well, the Turtles were underground comics back then. They were in black and white because, well, they didn't have the money. So they had to do it in black and white, and it made it feel gritty, it made it feel underground. So that's where the Turtles started. That's where it started. Black and white comics. It was unusual back then. As I said, the underground stuff, yes, but the regular mainstream stuff, the mainstream comics, as far as I know, they were already in color back then.
Okay, because I remember the Archie comics, maybe we'll talk about those one day. They were in color, and these, most of this black and white, even in the 90s, they were still black and white. I think it was just the way Eastman and Laird, I don't know, it looks like that's kind of what they wanted to do. So, for those who don't know, Peter Laird and Eastman were just hanging out one day watching bad TV. One of them drew a turtle with nunchucks, then the other one went up the other with four, put one of them put Ninja Turtles, the other added Teenage Mutant, and voila, Here we are. So, oh my God, this is just... So, were you like me and you actually had other TMNT media before finding the comic? Because you grew up with the original cartoon like me, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the cartoon was my start. Then we had the movies, action figures, of course. And the comics, I also got pretty late into the comics. I mean, I knew about and I read the Archie stuff because we also had that over here, translated into German, and I read that stuff. And so Turtle comics that are just like the TV show. I mean, the Archie comics later went in a different direction, but it's another story. But I didn't know much about the comics. I knew that there were comics back then, original comics before all this, but I didn't get my hands on them until really late, when I was probably in my teenager years. Around that time I found out about them and I got my hands on them. I was able, because the internet started, so I could order stuff and I could get my hands on the original comics, and that's where I really got into them and read them all. And it was a whole different world that I didn't know about. And here we are today. This is where it all started. It's crazy.
Anytime I was reading these for the first time, I read the first comic, but I never got to read any of the others until thanks to Comixology and that Amazon digital way to read. It's not as much fun. I mean, like Stanley always said it best too. There's just no more. There's no better thrill than just flipping the page of a comic saying what's going to happen next. But in a digital world, it just makes it a little more easier for us in 2025 to read. So we're here. Let's have you take it away. And I just had so much fun reading this because I'm like, hey, I remember that in the movie. Hey, I remember that in the 2003 series. So I have a couple notes here as well, but it starts with the purple dragons, and take it away from here.
Yeah, the very first issue, as you said, it always amazes me when you read the very first issue because it was planned as a one-shot. They didn't plan to do it as a series, so it could have ended back then. This could have been it, and Turtlemania would have never existed. One comic, some people would know about it, but that's it. It always blows my mind thinking about what could have been. So yeah, let's get into the comic. The very first issue from May of 1984. It starts with these four turtles with the first fight with the purple dragons. So the purple dragons, they're the first enemies the turtles ever fought. And after they defeat them, we meet their master, who is the Red Splinter, who tells them their origin story, how he was the pet rat of Hamato Yoshi, and of the rivalry between Yoshi and Oroku Nagi because of the love of Tang Shen. And then Yoshi killed Nagi, but Nagi had a little brother called Oroku Saki, who then became the Shredder and exacted revenge on Yoshi and Tang Shen. But Splinter, the pet rat, survived, and then he found those four turtles, and they were, just like in the movie, they were crawling around in a strange glowing ooze, and then they mutated, and he trained them, and they became ninjas, and now this is what they have been trained for all their life, to avenge Splinter's master, to finally kill Oroku Saki, the Shredder. So that's it. They meet Shredder on a rooftop. There's a big fight with some foot ninjas, and then there's a big fight with Shredder, and in the end Shredder gets killed, gets blown up by a grenade that he has on him, and that's the end. Shredder is dead, Hamato Yoshi is avenged, the turtles have fulfilled their destiny, and that's the end of the story. And as I said, it could have been the end of the turtles story for all time, and that's it.
God, just unbelievable. What I like about this is just since we just finished talking about Turtles Forever, they actually had that in Turtles Forever. Shredder, do you fear us? And I was like, oh, what a great line. I mean, the good guys are, it's the good guys that are talking like that. They don't talk like that back in the day, you know? I mean, you never saw Superman say that. He was a little cocky, but he wouldn't, say, do you fear me? I thought that was pretty ballsy of the Turtles to say. So, yeah. It just... Now, did you like this origin? Again, this is the first one, so we wouldn't be here without this. How did you like this origin story, involving the blind man and whatnot, compared to the cartoon from the 1987 series Origin?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was planned as a parody of comics back then, of Daredevil, of X-Men, of Teen Titans, all this stuff that was famous back then in the 80s. And the whole thing with the blind man and the mutagen, that was like a total rip-off of Daredevil. Like the Foot Clan, in Daredevil we have the Hand, and so on and so forth. And for this, if you know this, it's like it's pretty funny actually, but yeah, it's cool. Nowadays they always like trim down the origin story because Oroku Nagi isn't really needed in the story. If you think about it, like Oroku Saki can play both parts. He doesn't have to die, and then they can have the rivalry and so on and so forth. So it feels a little bit, if you know what's happening later with the cartoon, with the movie, and so on and so forth. it feels a little bit convoluted. There's a lot in there, like a lot of exposition. There's pages and pages of Splinter just telling the story, which I always thought was pretty funny. It's like, okay, you've trained for 13 years, and now I tell you where you all come from. Like, you never told them the story, how they became mutants or what? And yeah, but hey, it is the original. It is the OG stuff. It's just the way it should be. It's a little bit, it's a little bit campy. It's a little bit comic-like, 80s style. But it is what it is. This is how it should be. This is where it starts. And I can read this. I've read like the story like 100 times, and I can read it always, and always think it's great. The art I love. It's just cool. It's just cool. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you all the way. I appreciate it. I thought it was great as well. If I had to choose, Splinter being human was okay, but just from Rat to whatever, it still makes sense. I enjoy it, and I like how the first 1990s movie, which we're getting a re-release in less than a month. We're recording this July 23rd. Less than a month, we get to relive that movie and see bits and pieces of the original comic in there. Oh, it's going to be fantastic. But yes, that is comic one. They thought they were done, but people just kept buying it, and they're pretty much like, well, we might as well continue the story. So we go into the second episode, and what I thought was great was David Wise for the 1987 series, and also in the 2003 series, we get an early scene of Baxter Stockman here in this one.
Yeah, this is always so funny because like the first issue, it sold like crazy. Really, people were amazed, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I gotta have this, it's funny. And then people came up to Eastman Laird and were like, okay, when is the next issue coming out? Well, what next issue? We never planned another issue. But well, they did, and we're thankful for that. So yeah, this is the story with Baxter Stockman and the Mousers, and the introduction of April O'Neil, who in this version is the assistant of Baxter Stockman, who like creates these Mauser robots to stop the rodent problem in New York. But secretly he plans to use these Mauser robots for an evil plan to hold the city ransom. And April finds out about this, escapes Baxter, runs into the turtles in the sewers, and they team up. So yeah, this is the start of a friendship between April and the turtles, and together they confront Baxter and are able to stop him and his evil Mousers for good. And yeah, that's issue number 2. Another fine story.
Yeah, exactly. And just two other things I put was April with the "I can't deal with this," almost like how she faints in the original cartoons. I like that. And then Baxter combated with the turtles. What'd you think of that? A little different Baxter we get here too in the comics. He was actually going hand-to-hand combat with the turtles in here.
I mean he tried, but Raphael knocked him out pretty good. But yeah, Baxter is totally nuts in this story, you gotta say. He's a little bit different than what we expect from him later in the series, the shows, and so on and so forth. But he's really crazy, like, haha, I'm gonna destroy everything, and I'm gonna need all the money, and nobody can stop me. I'm the fantastic Baxter Stockman. And yeah, like this is like the scene when Raphael comes in, oh shut up, and he punches him, knocks him out. It's just great. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and I gotta say that it takes like I think almost 10 years for Baxter to come back. He doesn't even come back in the black and white comics. He comes back later in the second volume of the Mirage comics. But I mean, Baxter Stockman is such an iconic TMNT villain that it still amazes me that after this issue he doesn't reappear for another 60 issues. So it's but yeah, this issue really introduces us to so much stuff that we take for granted nowadays in the TMNT universe, like Baxter, April, the Mousers. So yeah, once again, this is like the the ground, for everything that comes later. And yeah, it builds the universe.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked you. We've done so many episodes together, Christian. How do you like the Mousers, and do you have any army builds? I actually bought 2 of the NECA Mouser packs because I wanted to have a whole bunch of Mousers for Baxter. So, do you have any Mouser toys? Do you like them? Do you army build them?
Oh, I have. Let me think. I have some of those NECA Mousers.
Yeah.
Yes. I have the ones that came with April in the 2003 toys. And I also have the bag from the 2012 show. They also had this Mouser bag. So yeah, I have some Mousers, and hey, I'm a fan of the Mousers. They're iconic. Just think about the video games. They're always in the video games.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just classic. They have to be in the TMNT universe. So this is how it should be. I'm a fan. I mean, they have such a simple design, but such an iconic design. Big fan of the Mousers. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if, especially because this takes place in New York, and New York's known for having a lot of rats, so I wonder if I lived in New York, if I'd actually want the Mousers around to get rid of some of those rats. Just kidding. Oh, boy. Here we go with comic number 3. Now, what I like here, again, is just a darker Turtle universe. Splinter gets captured with some blood, and the Turtles are drinking some beer underage here in comic 3.
Yeah, that's also something that always amazes me, and yeah, well, a lot of people don't know about. So yeah, comic 3 is when the Turtles came back to the sewer lair after their story in second issue. They find the place trashed and Splinter is gone, just a little bit like in the first movie. And they don't know what happened to him, so they go to April, like, hey, can you help us? And then the main part of the story of this issue is that the Turtles, they get caught up, they get chased by the police, not because they did anything wrong, but because the police saw the van that April is using. Once again, April's van, like the Turtle van. It doesn't turn into the Turtle van in the comics, but it's very reminiscent of the classic party wagon later on. So they get caught up in this mix-up that the van that April is driving looks like a van that was used by some goons on a robbery. So they get chased by the police. It's one big action scene, like classic 80s style, classic 80s action movie style. Big chase, and the Turtles in the end, they're able to, well, escape the police, and the real bad guys get caught by the police. So the Turtles go to April's place, but they are really tired, so they go to sleep and they say, hey, we're gonna search for Splinter next day. And as you said, like, they go to April's place, and April's like, hey, can I get you anything? And I think it's Raphael once again who's like, yeah, can I have a beer? And if you remember, in the first issue, Splinter said that it's been 13 years since they've been mutated. So they are 13 years and they are asking for a beer. And like, what? Okay, these are not your funny cartoon turtles here.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's funny because they have the beer, but then they don't. And they do swear, I think, in some of the issues. But in this one, they had holy hippo spit. So it's funny how they couldn't make up which way they wanted to go with it. But what I also liked was just character development. April got emotional about Splinter. She was just getting to know these guys, and she cared so much for the Turtles and Splinter. So I always liked that spot too.
Yeah, exactly. Because she when she met them, of course, she was like, who are you? But she found out they are good people, and she immediately started caring about them, and you immediately get like an emotional bond between the characters, and you can really feel it. It's really done well.
Oh yeah, no, from start to finish with this, and I just can't wait to go around this whole entire Ultimate Collection with you. Now we're going into Raphael, and one of my favorite notes here is, so long, freak, I've got work to do. from the movie and the comic book. I'm like, I just have so much fun reading this, just reliving all the other memories I have of this Turtleverse. So take us away here in the Raphael. And can you explain what a one-shot is to those who are listening for the first time on Spotify and YouTube, if they're not really big into comics, what one-shots are?
Yeah, so you see, we got the first 3 issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then they made a one-shot, a micro-series, as it was called, for Raphael. And they did one for each turtle later on, like one story that fits into this continuity, but it focuses on one turtle. So it's a one-shot story, just one issue, just one story in one issue. And here we have the Raphael micro-series, because we know mini-series, these are like 2 or 3 or 4 issues of a series, but micro-series, just one issue. And in this, it's like Raph gets really frustrated because Splinter is gone, nobody knows where he is, so he goes out and he runs into a vigilante called Casey Jones. So yeah, here we have it, introduction of Casey Jones, the hockey mask vigilante. And more or less this is like a big chase, a big action scene, because Raphael chases after Casey. Why? Because Casey is, well, really crazy. He's like a loose cannon. He wants to do good. He's a vigilante. He wants to beat up bad guys, but he doesn't just stop like knocking them out and sending them over to the police or anything. No, he's like bashing their skulls in. And Raphael is like, okay, this guy is even more crazy than I am. So he tries to stop him from, like, well, killing bad guys. So there's like this big chase, big action scene between them in the whole story, until they are able to talk to each other, like, hey, okay, I know what you're try to do, and know your anger, I know it, but don't go overboard with it. We can work together. And like in the end, they're like, okay, let's work together, let's beat up some bad guys together. And well, in the end, they do exactly this. And well, this is the start of a big friendship that, well, goes on to this day, I gotta say.
Yeah, just well done. And it's just, again, really cool how this all just flowed. I want to say magic is probably the right word to describe this whole entire franchise, just because you're going with Mutant Turtles, and you have one girl who's not, dating them, but just like a good, like, BFF type best friend, and then you get Casey Jones, just a cool human dude he's gonna get he's finally getting his own comic, I believe now. Is that correct? In 2025, I think I've heard word he's getting his own series now, right?
Yep. Yeah, the IDW is doing their own miniseries for Casey. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it took him long enough, but just again, he's I wouldn't say he's as cool as Batman, but just again, he's just a human with no powers. He just cares for people and wants to do what's right, and I think that's another way that people relate to him. That's how a lot of the superheroes are in the Marvel universe. Stan Lee always says, like, I wanted my characters to be relatable to people, so in that way you can get emotionally invested in them. And I'm sure a lot of people reading this, kind of bond with Casey. They want to do right for the world. Sometimes they get ticked off and have a little anger problem, but at the end of the day, they want to do what's right, and they usually figure it out. So, well done with the Casey Jones creation. And now, I'm excited to hear you talk about this one with number 4, not TGRI like the second movie, TCRI. I'm surprised. I still don't get. I should ask somebody. I'm sure it's on a podcast somewhere why they called it TGRI instead of TCRI. But that's another story for another day. But just what an amazing detailed battle they have in this one. I want you to talk about the battle a little bit too while you break down this issue, because my goodness, I never read comics as a kid, but my eyes were glued and just appreciated the whole entire issue. Right, this is one of my favorites in the whole entire run we're gonna cover.
Yeah, it really starts off with a bang, because Turtles still on the lookout. Where could Splinter be? Then they get attacked by some foot ninjas, but like an army of foot ninjas, and they have a big fight on the rooftops because they want to avenge Shredder. And as you said, this is really a big fight, a big story. It's really cool. The action is so great in this issue. But then after the turtles are able to defeat the foot ninjas, they see like a building called TCRI, which is a Techno Cosmic Research Institute. And in the movie it was, as you said, TGRI, which stands for Techno Global Research Industries. So there's because there's no cosmic connection there, I think.
Yeah.
And so the turtles, what's so unusual about this? It is that TCRI. These are the initials that were stamped on the canister that had the mutagen in them, which transformed the turtles into the mutants they are now. So they're like, hey, we never saw this place. So this all comes back. This all connects to the origin story, and they have to find out what's going on there. So they sneak into the building, and yeah, they find out that it's really crazy. It's very unusual. It's really weird in there, and they also run into some weird alien creatures. They are called the Utroms, and the turtles, they get caught like in a fight between them, because they the turtles, they cause trouble. Like, I mean, it's like the turtles cause trouble, and the Utroms, they try to stop the turtles, and there's like this little fight. And in the end, the turtles, they land on this platform. They try to run away, land on this platform. They're suddenly transported away. They like get beamed away. They like bit by bit, like suddenly they disappear. And this is a big cliffhanger, because Michelangelo jumps after the other one, like, don't leave without me. Then they are zapped away, and nobody knows what's gonna happen next. It's like, whoa, that's a cliffhanger. And yeah, that was just like the ending of the first season of the 2003 cartoon, which was really smart to stop it there. Like, I like a good cliffhanger. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
Yeah, no, I agree all the way. Again, and that's why we love the 2003 series, because it reminds you of this greatness in these black and white issues. So, coming into number 5, and I give Laird Neesman a lot of credit, because they tried something before Ninja Turtles, a Fujitoid, and it didn't really take off too well. So why not throw him into the Ninja Turtle universe? He makes his debut here with the Ninja Turtles. We also get the Triceratons, another beer call out. So these turtles might have to go to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, this is also something that a lot of people don't know about. Like, the turtles, yeah, it started out like this street level crime, street level Daredevil style, but 5 issues. It only took them 5 issues, and they went into space. So they get zapped away. They land on the planet the Hunib, and they run into the Fugitoid, who, as you said, was created before the turtles, but then was like became a part of the Turtles universe. And yeah, some bad guys are after the Fugitoid. They're the Human Federation, and some other alien creatures called the Triceratons. Once again, classic TMNT villains get introduced here. But they are all after the Fugitoid, because he's original a scientist called Honeycutt, who created a transmat device. And all of these 2 factions, they are after him. They want this device to use for the war, and Honeycutt does not want this to happen, so he tries to escape. The turtles help him, and as you said, they like run into this alien bar, very very Star Wars cantina like. And yeah, they also it's so funny, because one of the turtles is trying a drink, like, hey, I take what he's having, and he's like drinking his alien drink, and he's like, whoops, like, I don't know how I put it. It's like, whoa, this is good stuff. And yeah, well, in the end, once again, cliffhanger, gotta say, because the Triceratons, they're able to get their hands on the Fugitoid, and the turtles, they go after him. They in this spaceship, but the spaceship was damaged, and the turtles, they are like in this big room, and as the spaceship takes off, flies into space, the turtles they suddenly realize, wait, there's no air in here. There's no, we can't breathe in here, and that's, well, of course, bad. So this is the big cliffhanger. Like, oh no, we are in space and we cannot breathe. And well, what a cliffhanger! Once again, how will the turtles get out of this? We'll find out next issue.
Yeah, and they're kicking butt. Again, this is no TV show. This is just the comics. So, and again, these. Off the top of my head, do you know, I don't know if you have this in your notes, just like how long these comics were separated from, too? Because these weren't coming out monthly, I don't believe, at the time, right? The first issue was in 84. I don't have the dates on me, but any guess on, just, again, you had, just as a fan back again, just imagine, picture yourself just being this fan who loves this series, and you just, there's no internet, all you had was, calling a friend on the phone. There was no emails back then either. You might have to just run to your buddy's house, ring their doorbell, and say, "Oh my God, have you read comic issue number 5 yet?"
Yeah, it's. I actually got the dates here, and as you said, the first issue came out in May '84. The second issue was in October, so it took like 5 months between them. And here we have like between issue 5 and 6 with this big cliffhanger. It came. Issue 5 came out in October '85, and issue 6 in February '86. So it's like 4 months between them. Can you think that? Like, and as you said, you did not get any information. You only knew what you read in the comic or what someone maybe told you at the comic store or something. No internet. You couldn't just look it up on your phone or anything. So. Maybe we will get another issue. Who knows? It's unimaginable nowadays. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like, unless you're friends with Kevin Eastman or Peter Laird or like know their BFF, you're not going to know any rumors of what's going on either. Like, are they working on it? Like, we don't know what's going on. So yeah, just crazy time to be alive. We go into number 6. We get a little cursing here now. We get the B word, bastard, which is, again, kind of edgy. And then one of my other notes before you break this one down is, we're not kicking shell. We're going to kick some ass. They just go right into it. Can you imagine if we were little kids saying, let's kick some ass instead of let's kick shell?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, this is just, yeah, as you said, this... Back then, this was before the cartoon or anything. They really could do whatever they wanted, and it really shows. And yeah, here in the story, it starts off with the as I said, turtles. They are caught in the spaceship, and thanks to some ninja breathing techniques, they're able to survive, and they get caught by the Triceratons. And and the future droid who knows of the turtles like, oh no, they captured my friends, and of course the evil Triceratons are like, we can use this. So they throw the turtles into this arena, like gladiator style, and the turtles have to fight like some like some Triceratons. It's a big brawl once again. Turtles, like, really, it's a bit bloody, like the turtles really using the weapons, like Leonardo like sticking his katana through one of the Triceratons and stuff like this. But in the end, the turtles, they are able to escape from the arena and are able to escape together with the with the future droid. But well, as they get surrounded by Triceratons, suddenly they get zapped again. They get transported away again. Once again, another cliffhanger. What's gonna happen next? Well, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thankful I didn't, find out about these until later, so I can just, again, we live in a binging world now. Admit it, we live in a binging world. You see a show on Netflix, Cobra Kai season 6. I'm watching all of it in one night. I'm taking the day off work. Back then, though, you could only do this for, how long do these books take you to read? Maybe 30 minutes to an hour. That's all you got, and you'd have to read it over and over and over again because that's all you had. And now it's just a humongous library here. So. This is the final issue, guys, in this Ultimate Collection we're going to go into here. Comic number 7, and the one thing I just want to mention is Channel 6. is in here. So take it away, Christian, as we bring this one in for a landing with the final comic in our first podcast episode of the Ultimate Collection.
Yeah, and this really brings an end to this first storyline. The turtles, they get transported back to Earth. They land in the TCRI building, and as I said, like some people are reporting it, like some from Channel 6, wink wink. And yeah, the turtles, they land in TCRI. They first there's like a little fight because some Triceratons were also transported to Earth, and there's this little fight. But then the turtles and the Utroms now finally realize, hey, turtles, we don't mean you any harm. It was an accident. Everything that happened was an accident. We don't mean you any harm. And we also have Splinter. But he's okay. Well, the last time the turtles saw him at TCRI, he was like in this stasis tube, and the turtles didn't know, is he alive, is he dead, what's going on. But he's okay because the Utroms, they found Splinter way back when during issue number 2 he was attacked by some Mousers and was hurt really bad. But the Utroms, they found him, they took him in, they took care of him. And yeah, like with this first story arc, it comes full circle because the Utroms, they tell the turtles, hey, we were the ones who were responsible for the mutagen that transformed you. It was like a byproduct of our experiments with the Transmat device. And yeah, so we are the ones responsible. We crash landed on Earth years ago. We tried to get back to our home planet. But then there was this accident with the mutagen. You were mutated, so it all connects. And yeah, the army. Meanwhile, the army, they try to get into the TCRI building because like something weird is going on in there, and they want to get in. So the Utroms, they have to find a way to get off planet with the Transmat before they run into the army, and there's like a big war or anything. So yeah, they transport. In the end, they are able to transport away together with the turtles, together with the Fugitoid, and TCRI gets destroyed. So no piece of evidence left of the Utroms on Earth or anything. And then in the end, the turtles, they get transported straight into April's bathtub, and they're like, "Hey, April, we're back! Whoa, what a story we have to tell you!" So. Yeah, that's the end of that story arc. Once again, it could have been the end of the Turtles' adventures. Like, okay, this is really, the story arc is over. But once again, fortunately, it was not the end. But, well, it was just the first big adventure of the Turtles. And, whoa, what a story. What a crazy story.
Yeah, and I don't work for Amazon here, so I'm not getting paid for this, guys. But if you haven't yet, check out Comixology. It's on Amazon. There's a free 30-day trial. You can binge through all these books like I did. I think these are must-reads for any Turtle fan. So, what stands out to you the most out of this first black and white series here?
Well, just if you look at everything that came after this, you see so much stuff that we take for granted nowadays that was introduced in this comics. The very first issue, the Turtles and Shredder, like this is just so crazy to think about it. If you now know about, okay, who are the enemies of the Turtles, the first one you think is, of course, Shredder. He's the main villain, but he was killed in the very first issue. It was over. So this is still it's so crazy because people like, I've watched the cartoon and Shredder and Krang and and stuff, and then you read the very first issue and they're like, whoa, this is different. And I can only imagine how it would be nowadays. Just imagine, back then they had these comics and then the cartoon came on and it was so different from the comics. Like if you were a fan back then of the comics, you would think, whoa, are these my Turtles? I'm not sure about it. Just think about what it would have been like nowadays with the internet culture. Like if there was like this comic, and then we have this funny pizza-loving turtles cartoon, like these are not my turtles. Just imagine the shitstorm that would go off here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was at such a different time. But yeah, just so much stuff that is just normal for us nowadays in our Turtles world, like April, Casey, Baxter Stockman, the even the Utroms, who later like they were inspiration for Krang and so on and so forth, and the Triceratons, so much stuff. It's such a big story, and it's so cool. The action is really great, and I love this really underground gritty feel. It just feels so different. It feels so 80s style, and it's so different. But this is where it all started. I can just always think about like this is the start of this franchise that we have been following for like almost like 40 years now. So it still blows my mind how it started, and that it was never planned to be this big. Still now, 40 years later, we still talk about these comics. We talk about this franchise. There's still so much going on, and it was never planned that way. One short story, just for fun. Maybe it will sell, maybe it won't. Let's do it, and here we are, 40 years later. Turtle fans for life. It just blows my mind if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so much more to get through here. This is just the start here, guys. We're just starting to go down this crazy rabbit hole of nothing but love and nothing but passion from two guys. This is before Turtles got huge. Again, congratulations to Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird for putting this together. I just say magic. I mean, everything just fell into place. They had the right kind of characters, the right tone. Again, I mean, they were just trying new things, and it worked. I mean, you go from mutant turtles, like we said, with a rat as your, sensei. You have a girl reporter. You have these robots that go for rats. You have a genius, narcissistic, crazy scientist guy in here. Then you go from that to little, blobs of brains in people's stomachs, and it's a whole group of people here, almost like villagers. Then you go from that to dinosaurs. You get to bring back your character you created years ago to bring him in this universe. You get a guy who just goes around with sports equipment who's just a crazy anti-hero. Just it's amazing, and it all flows beautifully, which is just incredible. So Christian, as always, it's been fun, my guy. If people want to get more comic love of the Ninja Turtles, where can they find you?
As you said, we're talking about a lot of TMNT comics nowadays on my own podcast, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Talk. Check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you're listening to podcasts, or just go to tmnttalk.com, my website. You can find everything there, all the social media. Check it out if you want to hear more turtle stuff, more turtle comics. I think you can. This is the right place. Just check it out.
Yeah, no, I agree, my friend. All right, my friend. Well, it's time to bring this one into a close. I look forward to talking into the next one because we get to go with Mikey, and we got Christmas in the comics. We get to start with that soon. I can't wait. Christian, we'll see you soon again. Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime again. Thank you.